back in. Go ahead and sign in. And that threw me off because I'm like, what was we even talking about? That thing that threw me all the way off. Hold on,
The
y'all.
Barbie. So we gotta
The
start all
Barbie.
over again.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you was explaining about the difference with the extension because Keisha asked about whether it's like what's the how long do Caucasian people wear their extensions versus when we wear our extensions? That's what it was.
Oh, that's what she asked. I didn't even hear that.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah,
we did
I
it.
thought she was asking. I thought she was asking about the um the um the texture, the difference in the texture.
Oh, that's why you was explaining it like that. Okay, I thought you was
Yeah.
like, but you was on it because you was saying like you can't be parting the hair and having like your natural hair. You know what I'm saying? Like you was already on that part. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to see. Yeah, but I know with my experience, it depends. That's kind of a hard question to ask too because it depends on what kind of hair extensions they're getting. Because like we just talked about the Kardashians, who pretty much have straight hair.
Mm-hmm.
They get and they get sew-ins. But if you had tape
Mm-hmm.
extensions, it varies on the time frame as far as when they get the extensions. Because if they got to get highlights, if you got to do the color on it, these different things, then guess what happens? You have to then at that time if it's every 6 weeks they have gray hair or anything like that. I can't find it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find us. I don't see this. That's crazy. Hold on. Let me go to the main channel. Hold on. I see them giving us hearts, so I'm sure Keisha or somebody see it. If y'all see us, go ahead and write into the chat for me, please. Because I don't see us at all. Ooh, they don't want us to be great. Ooh, they don't want us to
So,
be great. You
so what
hear
do you mean
me?
you don't see us? Hi.
What happened?
What do you mean that you can't see us?
Like I see people coming on now, but I want to
Okay.
get to like on my channel I could see, I want to be able to see what's going on, like the
Okay.
live. Hold on, I don't see us live, but I think it's me. Am I on now? Wait, no views. No, that's not it. I don't see us. That's the thing. That's weird. Hold on. I don't see us, but I see it's like 16 people on. I just can't. I don't like that. I can't see the comments because I like to read the comments. That's what I'm trying to look at.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
you
So give
can't
me a
take the
sec.
comments off.
Right. I don't. Hold on. Where my comments at? Dang, that is like so crazy, y'all. But anyway, so that's crazy. Like we was doing so good. I don't get it. I don't see it. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. There we go. I see it now. There they go. Okay. All right. Let's keep it moving. We can't see it on the I don't know why we can't see it on here, but I see hearts. Yeah, I sent the message. It's much better. Good. Okay. Cool. When the audience hit the reaction button, particularly the hearts, lets your subscribers know you're live. Go ahead. Keisha be on it. Thank you, Keisha. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, Keisha, you were asking a question about how long do Caucasian people versus black like us, how long we keep our extensions in. And Dawn was kind of explaining something where she was saying about the fact that like if your hair is coily, you got straight extensions, you can't do like the in between extensions, I guess. I think she was understanding something different. But if you want to go on some more, do you want me to just say what I was going to say?
The tape ends. I was explaining
I
this.
think that.
If mhm.
Go ahead.
You
Go
have to
ahead,
match
Don.
the texture, match the texture of the hair for the extensions. But I understand what Keisha is saying now in terms of It all depends on the care, the aftercare, or the, the post op after surgery, because hair extensions is like surgery, right? But it's how you're going to
Mhm.
take care of the hair afterwards. So, you have
Right.
some Caucasian clients, their lifestyle is different than ours, which, they swim every day, they go to the gym every day, they work out, they wash their hair every day, or at least 2 to 3 days. So you have more of a lifestyle difference when it comes to the length of time that you're wearing extensions. I think you have to, consider that in your post-op care. A lot of things is the maintenance of even our post-op surgery from our post-op services in terms of hair treatments or hair services, how we care for the hair afterwards. So I think it depends on the lifestyle, which would determine how long or how often you leave your extensions in, or take them out.
That's a good way. That's good, real quick. Now, I was
Mhm.
gonna say something too about that. Now, when it comes to extensions, it's a total different, different worlds because when it comes to Caucasians or other race of people, when they are, now I wish I can get to my thing so I can delete these people. But when they are Caucasian people, and Dawn was right what she's saying, they get highlights more. They highlights grow out. They want to touch up their
Mhm.
highlights. They so it's different. They may come more often because of their hair
Mhm.
extensions, because of the different services that they do. Like with us, most part, y'all, we either want to have a full wig or we want to get the extensions that has the highlights on it. And like you said, you guys wear it for a long time. With Caucasian people, because like Don say, they swim a lot, they have all these different activities. What happens is that they're scheduling their appointments as regular. The extensions, they don't have to be removed. Like let's say if they're tape extensions or whatever type of extensions or system, even if they're wearing a hair system, they come in more often than we would when it comes to a salon. And the reason why, if they need their hair blow dried or they want to flat iron or they have an event or something like that, they're more likely to come in every maybe 2 to 4 weeks is a difference. And if they have grays, for instance, I used to work in a salon in West Palm Beach. It was a $1 million salon. And the only thing that that owner had us do as far as extensions were the sandwiches, the tape extensions. And with those tape extensions, those ladies, we were booked out for the year, right? So with the tape extension, it was a lot of celeb wives, and different things like that. Those women will book. They wouldn't leave until they have their booking. So it is very different. They don't wear their extensions as long as we do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But they do. A lot of them do wear a hair extensions. If they have fine hair, or they just want a different look. They want longer hair, so more dramatic hair, or they have some type of event. So they may do that, but they don't wear their hair the long periods of time like we do. Only time I can say they may wear their hair a long period of time, and even then I can say that they're faster than us, is when they have to have a hair system because they have hair loss. So that's pretty much it. So it's a big difference. Keisha say, "Oh, how often do some of your clients will come in to get the color, even with and without hair extensions?" Oh, shoot. Uh, it depends on the percentage of. Are you talking about like for like if you like 100% gray, like maybe every 4 weeks, between 4 and 6 weeks, depending on how fast the hair grow. But that's the typical when you're talking about just like a permanent color, like like to the roots of the hair, because if you got gray hair, things like that. That's how often they would come 4 to 6 weeks. And like highlights, they refresh their highlights as well around that time, depending on the growth of their hair. I'm still thinking on it. Don, what do you have to say about it?
In
That's with or
terms
without
of,
extensions. Mhm. The
I'm
time
sorry.
frame, am I hitting it close? Because I'm trying to remember. Like it's four. I remember it being like every 4 to 6 weeks, or summertime they'll come in a little bit more faster because their hair is growing. They don't want their grays to show. That's what I'm thinking about hair color.
Yeah, for my clients, it's whenever the gray was coming in. Whenever they saw gray
Right.
coming in, they headed to the
Mhm.
salon for a retouch. And
Mhm.
it was pretty much, the hairline area or the leave out area.
Mhm.
Um, Back then it was the leave out.
Right. That's a leave out. And it doesn't
Now
matter
it's the
whether
lace
they
front.
are. It don't matter if they black or white. When it comes to color, that's
Mm-hmm.
like the women that's the time frame, especially if they have gray hair. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what they're gonna do with it. But if you're doing like highlights or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
they don't you're gonna refresh in between. You're gonna do the permanent color, and then you're gonna just refresh the highlights. And it's like a it's
Yes.
a it's a I'm gonna do a live, and I'm gonna do some highlights so y'all can see actually how that whole thing goes. Because I have a client that has uh brown hair, and she wants some highlights. So I'm gonna do two different kind of color highlights so you can kind of see. And she is a black girl, so you'll kind of see that's it's like a touch up. It's a touch up for her, the root of her hair, and then also the highlights in it, so you can kind of get an idea. So, because trying to describe that is different, but the time frame, I would say 4 to 6 weeks, or like Don say, how if that gray pop up, you know what I mean? We do what we
Mm-hmm.
can. I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's for every 4 weeks for me when it comes to my gray.
Keisha had a question. So do you take the extensions out to put the color in? I don't take the extensions out if I don't
Mm-mm.
need I only color where the hair is exposed. So
Right.
normally the hair is out. Normally I do a lot of leave out. Well, now I do, closures and some hairline area that's out. it's, it's Keisha cracking up.
Keisha say, Keisha say her gray tell all her business.
Mine too. I am
Thank
fully
you,
gray.
Marlene. Mm.
Yes. Yes. But
And mine is every 4 weeks. And now I will say, if it's like the tape extensions, and I have to
mhm.
do that color, sometimes you do the color it's gonna slide off, which is fine.
Mhm.
All we do is
Mhm.
just take them off, and we just apply different adhesive onto into those extensions and put them back on the hair. So it's not a long process for that, because sometimes when you're trying to color in between, you know what I mean, sometimes it will get on there and you're gonna have to take them off. I wouldn't take them off unless they were being disturbed. Yeah,
Yeah.
because back then, I don't know the price of them now, but I know when we did installation of, we call them sandwiches, those were $50 a sandwich.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you're looking at a couple of a grand, depending on what you're doing. It could start anywhere from like uh 1,000, 1,200 on depending on what we're doing and how many we got to add in
Mhm.
there if you want dramatic look. So that's with just the sandwiches. Those are the tape extensions. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a good question though, Keisha. But yeah, honey,
Mhm.
them grades, they be and they just pop up out of nowhere. Everything was just going fine and everything. But the one thing I will tell you too, it also depends on the product that you're using too. So if you at home and you're doing that at home product, and you're doing the I call them watercolors, which is the
Mhm.
semi-colors, which semi-colors are what we use to tone once we lift the hair. If we bleach the hair, we call those toners. So if you're using that just to cover gray hair, like it's not has nothing to do with highlights, that's like they say 4 to 5 washes that is gone. But really, child, after the first wash, that gray to me, I don't even like playing with that. I don't. So But anyway, let's get back to the natural versus the Barbie look. So for a lot, I want to talk about the psychological part of it because I remember this comedian. I don't want to say his name, because a lot of women do not like him. But he did make a point about something. He said, "I don't think it's me." He said it was mental illness. I don't think. I think it can turn into mental illness because we have seen people that have gone over and beyond with different changes to themselves, and it becomes an addiction with not just celebrities, especially here in Miami now. I mean, I've seen some stuff. You know what I mean? I've
Yeah.
seen the peg legs with the oversized. We call them tippers now. They say they go a tipper. Tipper mean you could tip over
Mhm.
because you got too much backside, not enough leg support. The butt doesn't match the legs, or the breast. Like, you don't want the breasts. Some people want the breast to be. They want triple D's or whatever they got. They want these different things, and so, like I was saying a little bit earlier before we had the issue going on, it's okay to me to have the different changes done, but I think that it should be when, for me, I would want it to be where it looks natural. You know what I mean? And I have seen women that have, I didn't even know, they say, no, I've had some stuff done and you won't even know because they went to great doctors and they look great, or they went to hairstylists like the Kardashians. I did not know that they had sew-ins. It wasn't the fact, I knew they were extensions. It was the fact that they were actual sew-ins, and the way they put it in, and they made it universal.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, Keisha say they used to share. They Keisha said, hold on. They used to sell the curly clip-in extensions at my local beauty store, but I never tried them before. I wouldn't do that either. You know what I mean? When it comes to extensions and stuff like that, don't, especially those clip-ins. They're gonna charge you. You know what I mean? A whole lot. You can actually go to your stylist. Can they purchase from us? We've had people do that before. We've had, it's not all the time, but I've had, because some of the clients may have to travel a lot and things like that, and they ask for extra just in case an emergency happens. So I've seen that, but I think they charge an arm and a leg, and that be just regular $10 pack of hair that they don't put the tape thing on it. Um, and I don't know, Keisha, if you've seen. I know in Miami they have the girls in the beauty supply store working. In the back, they do the sew-ins and stuff like that for $30 or something like that. I don't know how much they do the sew-ins for, but I do know they'll have somebody over there cutting that cheapy hair extension, and they'll sew the clip-ons onto the weft. So you got to be kind of mindful of that too. They use curls. Okay, we read that. Regular people would get those changes too if they could afford it. Yeah, yeah. And I think, well, he was talking about the psychology of why women are getting it, and you do see people just go overkill when it comes to anything, even hair extensions. I'm like, now that does not, no, that does not look great. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, we see Dawn with the gorgeous blonde. She got all her dreads blonde, and Dawn looks great in it. I don't, but
Thank
it
you.
is your hair. I think it's the color. I think it's how she colors it. I think it's the maintenance of it, and it just looks good. And it is your hair anyway, right? So that makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah. Dawn, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. So, I guess, if you guys have any more questions, but just wanted to point that out as far as natural versus Barbie, and the whole thing is, this is what I wanted to put together. I think you could be a natural Barbie if you invest in yourself, spend the right kind of money, right? You willing to invest in yourself, and I think that's where it falls off at, because a lot of people want the look, but they don't want to spend the money. I always say people spend the money where they really where they want to. They say I don't have the money for it. We have the money for what we want to have it for.
where we see value.
Right, right. So a lot of times you guys, like for instance, the lace front thing where everybody was in line, they was doing lace fronts for $2.99, or I think it was $2.50, and the women were coming in there, and they were like excited because they did the lace fronts for $2.50, but they all looked the same. Their hair looked matted before they walked out the door. One breeze, honey, and it was just, you could see the scalp. They didn't bleach. You know how you got to bleach the knots. The knots wasn't bleached. It was just, but I was like, well, it's $2.50. And what they did was, if you wanted all that service, they kind of a la carte that, which
Hmm.
shouldn't have been. They should have included it in, and then they should have
Hmm.
had someone to be able to customize it for your look, what you wanted. You know what I mean? But to be honest, people when they spend money on their hair extensions, they are scared to cut it. Like, oh, please don't cut my, don't please don't cut it, because you know what I mean, honey. They just not used to. I
But
got my client.
that's why
My
it looks like
client
a
looked at
wig.
me and she's like, "Oh my god!" She told me, she was like, "Oh, I don't want my, I don't want, I want to leave it long." I said, "Don't worry, I just go to the ends, but I need to shape it, like cut the perimeter of the hair, but I need to shape it."
Absolutely.
But I don't know what that is, man. It's just like when you got to trim your ends. I don't know why we don't like to trim our ends, and it don't look good. It be all thin. You be like, "Look, my hair here." I said, "We can see it because we can see your arm. It's thin. It's gone. It's now you have to cut all that split in, because the split ends they just pop off and it's thin." But I'm telling you, our people, they just refuse. They like, honey, I'm keeping it. So yeah, she side at me, y'all. She was side eyeing me. Keisha says, I think us as women have bought into the narrative the Caucasian women are the standard of beauty. Well, they sold that to us, Keisha, which has influenced how we see ourselves. Paranoid that you are going to cut their hair. Yeah, they be well. Um, Don, you want to touch on what the first part was? She was talking about the standard beauty was what is Caucasian.
Uh, the standard the standard beauty has always been us.
Mm,
It has always been us. We are the standard. However, the images that are glorified um ties into our self-esteem. So then we go in and say, I want to look like that, like the Barbie,
right.
right? Instead of embracing our true selves. So you have a whole sector um of women that did not buy into that theory of long hair. They stayed within uh their natural beauty, what they feel or them to be beautiful to them. For me, I've been blonde for years. It's not that you know I want to be white. No, I want to be blonde. I like I like blonde hair, right? So
Right.
I know how. I went to school for cosmetology, so I know how to color my hair blonde or achieve the look that I desire for me,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So if wearing blonde hair it's very expensive because your roots are going to grow back in very quickly. So it's a high
That's right.
maintenance hairstyle in terms of you know all ele- all elevated looks are expensive. So I think to me, I love an afro. I love natural looking hair.
Yeah.
My hair was natural before I decided to wear locks because I would blow it out. I've been through the whole gamut with the relaxer and the whole 9 yards, relaxed and blonde and hair broke off. Um,
Yeah.
Relaxed and natural hair stayed healthy.
Mhm.
Now my locks are really long, so I cut them and I put them back. So it's just like pruning a tree when it comes to trimming your hair. we all know we have to trim trees in order for them to bear and be full, right? You go in and you have to trim the tree. So it's the same thing in terms of our hair. You have to, it's part of the maintenance, if I must say.
Yeah, Keisha said paranoid that you are cutting their hair. And I understand why a lot of clients get paranoid because there are a lot of hairstylists that be giving full haircuts and you just need to trim the end. You done gave the lady hair, she done got long layers down here and she need an ends trim. And before you finish, they got a whole bob. They didn't ask
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
bob.
yeah.
They just wanted you to just trim. So I understand that as
Absolutely.
well. A lot of times what I do is I'll when I'm sectioning the hair and I'm starting to cut, I'll lift it and I'll let them look in the mirror and I'll bring it to them if their hair is long and say, see, all of that is split. And just to let them know, and they say, yeah, go ahead and cut it. So it may be 2-3 inches that I may have to cut off. But I let them know beforehand because sometimes people be like, can you leave a little bit on? I'm like, you leave it on, it's gonna keep crawling up and it's gonna keep splitting and keep thinning, and it's not attractive. So,
Right.
so I do understand why clients are like that, and I do understand there's a lot of hairstylists. And let me tell y'all something that happened to me yesterday. Yesterday, I had a client, one of my clients, she moved to Detroit, but she was here visiting, and she asked for me to tack her wig down, right? And so I went over there and I was like, dang, she was like, dang, you finished it. That don't take nothing. That's all of 5 to 10 minutes to take the wig down in the back. And I was like, well, what do they do with the front? And she was explaining to me. And she said, Lee, they don't even have, she said, over there in Detroit, she said, they don't have any like skills. Like, and they can, because they have their natural license, they're into doing relaxers and colors. And I was just like, she said, I think what I'm gonna have to do is, because she's experiencing, she wears the wigs, whatever. She said, I think what I'm gonna have to do is just get it, I'm gonna just have to fly home and get it done, Miami. And I'm like,
Mhm.
dang. Or just let them do a little bit and then when I get home, let you guys fix it. That's really bad, y'all. I was like, Lord have mercy. That's just like, I don't know. I just had to tell that story because I was like, so I wish we could do something. And it's not to talk about them or to tear them down. It's just like, I wish we could do something to make them understand that that's why industry people don't respect the industry and different things like that. And they can't really talk about these things. So these are the women that if you say, I need a hair trim, they're like, yeah, girl, I know how to trim hair. A lot of you shouldn't allow it. Like if you don't have a history with these people and you don't know, you don't see the views, or you haven't spoken to somebody that can vouch for these people, you guys should not be going in there. One more thing I did want to add, I watched a Derek J video. I sent you one, Don, but one of the videos he said, and I was like, I say this all the time. He said that the people don't have license, they don't know how to trim ends, all these different things. And he said they're rude, the hairstylists are rude and nasty. And he said I agree that they do be rude and nasty, but you keep on giving them your business and your money, so they're going to continue to do it. The only way people learn is when the faucet turn off. That faucet turn off, that money stop coming in there, and they notice a drop in their business. I guarantee you, all you get the best customer service in the world. Then they will recognize that you are the ones that pay their bills. That's the problem. The
Absolutely.
clients treat the hairstylists like like they doing them a favor and they're the celebs. No, no, no. You are the celebs. You are the one
Mhm.
that send our kids to college, that put the lights on, that you know what I'm saying, that take care of the bills, that for us to be able to have vacation and insurance and different things like that. It's our clients and it's how we treat them. But if you go in there with the mindset, because this girl know how to slay hair and slap and get your edges together, but she rude and she nasty, guess what? That's on you. And that's something he said. He said you can't even get with this the stylist because the people keep supporting them. They get online, they complain, but you keep supporting them.
That's that
Okay.
loophole in the beauty industry where they get in, they say, oh no, I'm
Mhm.
not going to do any chemicals. Oh no, I'm not going to do that part. I'm just going to do natural hair. And then
Right.
the consumer doesn't know that the person doesn't have a license to apply chemicals, right? But the person
Mhm.
figure they can watch enough videos or watch enough people apply a relaxer and they feel like they can do it, right? Not
Right.
understanding the density, the texture, the timing of the relaxer. You're not qualified, nor do you have a license to apply chemicals. Number one, that's dishonest. That's dishonest because you're lying to the public saying that you are capable of apply or licensed or legit to you. It's trickery to the consumer because they don't know that you're not licensed to apply this chemical, but they trust
Right.
you because they've been coming to you to do the braids. And now they said, well, I want to try something else. I don't want the braids anymore. And you know that, well, I can make this money. I've been applying relaxers for forever. I'm black. I'm in the culture. This is a part of our history. We've
Mhm.
been putting in relaxers and this is that and the other. You're not licensed. You don't know what chemical to apply on this client's hair. So now you go in and apply the wrong chemical, over have the lady hair over processed, and all her hair is coming out because of an improper chemical treatment, which you were not licensed to do. She doesn't know that you're not licensed to apply this particular product to her hair because she only knows that you're in the salon with a braider's license.
Mm.
That's what the
Right.
consumer knows. They only
And
know that you're in there, and you know that you are not legit to provide this service. But you're very deceitful. So you have to inform the public that if they have a braider's license, that's how we can fight the fight, right?
mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
dear consumer, okay, just because they have a braider's license, that is considered a specialty license. They need a
Mhm.
cosmetology license in order to apply chemicals. They need a cosmetology license to apply color to your hair, not temporary color out of the box. They cannot apply color to your hair. Okay. They cannot cut your hair. Okay. They cannot wax your eyebrows. They can't do anything but take those strands,
Mm.
right? And they don't even know how to shampoo your hair because they're not taught that. In Florida, there's no regulation for braiders. There's no regulation. So if the owner of the establishment does not train their staff to operate in a sanitized and sterile environment, they're going to continue. There's no law that's going to stop them. You don't know that they're not licensed to apply such products. But the only way we can fight it is to inform the public. If they have their braiders license, that's considered a specialty license. They should not be applying chemicals and things like that. That's the only way we could do it. Chip bit by bit by bit
Mhm.
by bit.
Now,
You
I
know.
was gonna say this too. Now, I have a good friend, and she told
Mhm.
me like it's not that they just don't know. Some states don't even allow them to wash the hair. I
Mhm.
was like, that's crazy to me, but I believe him. I believe her because she's been in the industry for over 35 years. But she said some states they didn't even allow them to wash their hair. The only thing they can do, that's why they keep saying. I was like, that makes sense. That's why they keep coming in telling you to already wash your hair. I don't want to be in that state because I want
Right.
if I'm paying,
Right.
like if I'm paying $300 for some braids, the prices that I'm paying, I want everything done to me. I want to feel pampered. I want to, like, you see some salons where these girls coming in and they got it all very dainty and beautiful. The service is mwah, excellent. They washing the
Mhm.
client hair. They're catering to the client. I love those places because there are a lot of those places. But unfortunately, we have a lot of um, women, or not just women, but hairstylists that go in and like, this is the thing for me, Don. And now I know you've seen this before. I used to see, I'm like, why would you tell them people you know how to do that? You don't even know how to do it. But you're like,
Mhm.
I could do that. Why would you do that? Like, I would not want my work to be, I know I can't do something and I'm telling you I can do it just to get your money.
Right.
And one more thing that Derek J, I said, oh, he not lying. He said back in the day, if I'm talking to a bunch of hairstylists and one of the, and one of them say I'm not licensed, we actually look down on them. We were like, oh my God. I said,
Right.
oh my gosh, that is so true. It's like, what's wrong? Why, honey, why don't you have your license? You
Yes.
understand what I'm
We
saying? I was
encourage
like,
them to
man,
get
that
them.
is so true. I was
Yes.
down laughing, but I said, that's real.
Yes.
Now
We
that's
encourage
real.
them to get their license.
Mm-hmm.
I would help my staff study for state board. You know,
Right.
you pass state board, we all going to Vegas, you know. So yeah.
Right. So let
Yeah,
me
you have
read
to
this. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead, Don. What was you about to
No, I
say?
was just I was just saying that we have to inform the public and have the public
Right.
hold them accountable.
Exactly. Now, hey Charlene, Keisha say, how are you gonna be rude and nasty and no license? That's too much going on, and not enough good stuff either. Right? Like the audacity. You be like, wait a minute, what,
Yeah,
honey? You don't even have the talent. You don't have the talent. You're nasty. You know what I mean? But you got one skill set.
yeah,
Child, please. You know how to do the ponytails. Then
yeah,
Charlene Hartfield, hello. Keisha then writes, we obsessed with their talent and not the service. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm telling you. Charlene says, I love mine. It is all natural, gorgeous, great. Keisha said, that's so true, Don. That's when you was talking about what you was talking
Mhm.
about. Charlene says, my hair is long past my waist. That's beautiful. I love to hear that. And then Keisha says, I think here you can get your license under a licensed cosmetologist under the apprenticeship program. That's good.
Ooh.
At least it used to be that way a long time ago. Yeah.
Mm.
So, that just falls back into why people don't respect our industry. A lot of women, a lot of their clients, they just don't respect it because we have a lot of that going on. But at the same time, as clients, you guys need to be able to recognize, if you'll know by the conversation. Like the Bible says, you should know by the, which one. You'll know by their conversation. You'll know when you ask for a consultation and you call in and say, hey, I like a consultation, instead of
Right.
asking how much you charge. That's the other issue. You guys are so focused on the talent and you want to know how much they charge that you don't even ask the most important questions, because the work may be impeccable. They may have
Right.
great talent, but they may be putting something in your hair that's going to cause you hair loss. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you need to look for all of that. You need to have
Mhm.
more than that question. So if they can't give you a consultation, a real consultation, and when you go in there and they can't sit you down and find out about the history of your hair and all those different things, they can't do that. That's an intimate thing we're doing.
Mhm.
I just had a good friend of mine was like, "You don't come into my space." We from Miami. Miami got a
Mhm.
space. We got a certain space. You don't come into a person. If you walk up on us, that's like a threat to us. Like that's not a good thing, right? So I've always, even when I first became a hairstylist, appreciated and understood, never took it for granted that a person allows me to walk up and see whatever insecurities they have in their head, whether they have hair loss, maybe they have a hair scalp disorder, different things like that. People, that's a hard thing to do, but you guys don't even think about that. Neither does the stylist say, you know what, let me make sure she's actually a candidate for this. Is this what's going on? Your scalp is inflamed, but then y'all gonna go put spritz on that and heat and then cover it up with paper. I don't understand. I don't know how we always get back to this, child.
That's the thing with the
Um,
braid. When they go in and they put the braids in, first they use the edge control, and after you use the edge control to secure the braid, then you use the edge control to braid down, right, to marry the hair within the braid. After
right,
you've done that, you go in and you put mousse on top of the hair, and then you go in and put oil sheen on top of the hair, and it leaves it leaves the hair in a
how many
complete
levels of
breakout.
alcohol was that, Chad?
Right. And then they want to know why their hair is falling out and drying out. If you're gonna braid the client's hair up, that you shouldn't be putting alcohol in the hair because that's gonna further dry the hair out, right? You should be using some type of product that's gonna still control the curls of the client's hair, but would add moisture to the client's hair during the process. That's why braiders, it's really, I'm not gonna say it's annoying, but it's one of those things where when you don't have laws in place for them, it's just like free reign. You know what I mean? And then they go in and implement all these ridiculous antics because they really don't know what they're doing. If I put more spray in her hair or more mousse, it makes me feel like I'm a stylist, right? After I've done all
Oh
these
yes,
braids, and I go, I spray this oil sheen that got people sliding all over the floor and stuff like that.
face
You know what
shiny,
I'm saying? Yeah, just greasing up everything. It's just
mm.
ridiculous. And then you go and
Looking
put
like you
this
laid
hot,
hands on them, looking like you
right?
laid
Put
some
all this
anointing
hot
oil on
water.
them.
And you got it. Put all this hot water and burn the client's scalp. Now this lady got severe burns, which is gonna give her what? Inflammation,
Mm.
infection. It's ridiculous. Over tight braids. It's no regulation. And of course, who does it hurt? The queen. No
Preach,
one else
Don.
is going in there getting braids and stuff done. It's hurting the culture.
Yeah.
So, you have to take accountability, and accountability starts with you, and you make the public aware, and you just say no. Hey, that's too tight. And don't wait until they finish. They're done to talk about you don't like the hairstyle. No, don't do that. That braid was too tight from day one
Mm-hmm.
when she put
Mm-hmm.
in the first anchor. Okay?
Right.
Things are going wrong when you get to the midsection. You already know, oh no, those braids don't look the same. That's not
Mm-hmm.
what I
Mm-hmm.
want. Then, right? You can tell, and you
Right.
say no. Don't wait until they finish because that's theft of service. At least it is in Florida. So if you sit
Right.
there and you allow the person to go in and do and provide this service for you, you have to pay them. If you don't pay them, it's not, oh, you got to take it out. No, ma'am.
Uh-uh.
That's a
Mm-mm.
double service. And
No,
in
ma'am.
Florida, they can be charged with that. You can take them to
Mm-hmm.
court, and it's small claims court because it's under what I think what $25,000, and you can get your money back if you start enforcing it. Um, you could stop the antics. But yeah, it's a sad
Now,
state of affairs
Don.
for
Now
braiders.
now Don told y'all the proper and the right way to handle it. But you come down here to Miami and you let somebody do a whole job on you and tell them to take it out, baby, they gonna call the law after they handle you. That's all I'm gonna tell you about that. Now Don told y'all the proper way, but I'm telling you that most likely will not go the way she explained it. I'm just keeping it. You're
It's
not
step
down here. They
it's
be like,
step of service.
I
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
used to
see
have
sometimes they be
those
cutting it
girls
out.
come in the salon with that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the other day I saw on TikTok where this little girl for school, I felt so bad for that baby. That baby had to be about 11, 12. The girl had did a great job, but she put hot pink, just a couple of braids of hot pink. The mama, I don't want the braids. She didn't want the hot pink in it. She didn't want to pay extra for the hot pink. It wasn't even a lot of braids. But that lady just cut the thing out, and the little girl just sitting there like, I was like, oh my God.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I don't know if I would have did it. But I'm not mad at the hairstylist because the work was perfection. She did a great job on it. And the lady outside told me, I ain't paying for that. You know what I'm saying? So who lost in the end? The little girl. If you would have saw her face, she was so excited. You know,
So
like
she
I can't
didn't
wait till
pay?
my mama see this. Man,
Oh wow.
they didn't pay. The girl had the hairstyle had to start cutting the hair out. I was like, Lord, help us. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's the stylist's fault because you have a minor in your chair. So you have to
Right,
get full direction from the parent.
right,
Okay? No, are you're gonna leave her here? What are the rules? Okay.
hmm
No, no, no. Your mom didn't say you can have pink hair, you
right.
know?
Call your mama on the
So
phone.
right.
Hmm
Before you put that service in. And of course, when the mom says no, you cannot become upset because that's a parent. She can't, the
Right.
baby can't go to school with hair color in her hair, right? She can't go to school with colored hair. She has to take it out. So
Right.
I blame the client for not having and securing a proper consultation between the parent
And the stylist.
and the
Yeah.
child, not the child.
Right. You know
Mhm.
what, Don? I love
Uh-huh.
one thing. You and I was having this conversation, and you was like, you said, braids is aesthetics.
Mhm.
And I never paid attention to that. I'm like, dang, you're right. She said,
Mhm.
you said what we do is we dealing with chemicals, we dealing with, uh, different procedures and different things like that. Braids is
Mhm.
just like art. It's just them
Right.
putting it in a certain kind
It's
of
the
way,
craft.
and even in
Mhm.
yeah. So it's really actually simple. The only thing that a braider really have to be concerned with is making sure that hair is treated and it has the moisture in it before they go ahead and put the braids in, put the proper product in the hair, um, for that client to be able to keep their hair and keep the look or whatever. I just wanted to point that out. I love the fact that you brought that to me, and I never thought of it that way because I
Mhm.
was like, that makes sense. That's it. They're not. It's
Mhm.
not. It's not something major. You braiding the
Mhm.
hair, and I do agree with you too when you say that is the hairstylist, that's the client's fault when you seeing a person doing your hair and you don't like it, you stop them because I let me tell you braids that I really love. I used to do this to my daughter hair. I would braid the hair going back. You know the braids going back, but the
Uh-huh.
braids going back would
Mhm.
stop at a certain point. If they braided too far back, it don't look good to me. I don't stop
Absolutely.
people to do that. So we're gonna wrap it up, guys. I'm gonna read real quick what Keisha them said, and then we're gonna be done
Uh-huh.
with it. All right. Um, Don took my me back to the days when we used to use pump it up spritz doing hair and homemade us feeling like we are professional. But you're right though. Oh wow, I think that is a good topic. Theft of service. Yeah, that's a good topic and never knew
Mhm.
that. And so, yes, we are done. And Keisha, yeah, we did do a couple of videos ago. We did lives ago. We did about the Houston when the guy was handing out hair products and it turned into a little mini riot and the man had to shut his salon down. He was giving out free beauty supply stuff, child. Lord help us. But it has been wonderful, guys. I thank you so much for tuning in to Salon Talk. Now, we asked you guys to go to Salon Talk. I added the link in. Please subscribe so we can start going live on Salon Talk. It is so important that you guys do that. I know you said you were, but nobody did. All right, Don, do you have anything else to say?
Protect your crown. I enjoyed you guys tonight. Nice to meet some new people. Thanks for keeping us on track, Keisha.
We love y'all. See you next week,
We love
Sunday
you.
at 7 p.m. Salon Talk. Bye.